Hi, Dr. Deo family. My name is Michaele Ferguson, and this is my story of gratitude. My story starts on the 28th of May this year. Basil had gone to the Afrikaans service, and I was at home getting dressed to come to the English service. I was in the bathroom, and I had a massive seizure. No sign that I had anything wrong with me. Previously, just out of the blue, I have this massive seizure. I tried to get hold of Basil. I sent him a text message when I found my phone, just saying help. He didn't answer because his phone was off in the service. So I tried phoning him again. He didn't take the call. He said text me, and then realized that I had texted him, and he phoned me back. He said that the call made absolutely no sense whatsoever, and then he realized there was something seriously wrong. So made his way home in a hurry and got me to Wilgehevel Hospital. At Wilgehevel, they immediately did a CT scan and found what the doctor told Basil was probably a cancerous tumor that had become enmeshed in my brain. And Basil had gotten a call from his cousin who gave him a vision.
Okay, so when Michaele was in the hospital in Barra, my cousin, who's a Christian counselor in Dubai, reached out to me and said, I hope you don't mind, but we've been praying for Michaele, and while I was praying, the Lord gave me a vision. And the vision was that she found herself inside of Michaele's head and looking at the brain, and this tumor, which ended up to be, as the doctor said, about the size of 2 golf balls, this thing detangled itself from the rest of the brain, rose to the surface, and had a skin over it that contained it, almost ready for plucking out. And when the surgeon opened her up, that's exactly what they found. There was the thing was there waiting to be plucked out. There were 2 little arteries or nerves supplying the thing with blood and keeping it alive. They cauterized that and just plucked this thing out. When I saw the doctor in the ICU, I said, so how did it go? And he was just all smiles and just nodding his head and said, look at this. And he showed me the size, like a computer mouse size. And he said it went absolutely fantastically. So God showed us what was going to happen, and then he did it. So we're very thankful for that.
I had incredible family support at the hospital, and Basil did. I have no recollection. My recollection of that day is very, very fuzzy. I know that the hospital, they would not release me. We don't have medical aid, so the hospital were very concerned. They wouldn't release me unless I had a bed in a hospital. And they phoned around to all the government hospitals and found a bed for me at Barra, which in itself is a God miracle, because you wait 3 months for a bed at Barra. And sorry. At Barra, it was terrible. They had to go take me to casualty. Now, God just wiped out that day. I don't remember anything from that day. He cushioned me absolutely and totally, because I would not have allowed Basil to put me into a government hospital. I had been in the Helen Joseph once before, and it was an absolute nightmare. So I wouldn't have allowed it to happen. I would rather have gone home and suffered the consequences. At Barra, I woke up the next morning. I was totally calm. God was with me. I had no recollection of being admitted, but I woke up in a ward in a strange place, and I was absolutely, totally calm. I knew that God was with me every step of the way. At Borough, I was told that I would have to have an MRI. And the one lady in the ward that with me had told me she'd been there 3 months waiting for an MRI. So my family said to the doctors, can we please do an external MRI? The answer was a firm no. They told us that I would lose my bed, that they couldn't keep it, and that I would have to wait. But then a few hours later, the doctor came back and said, yes, you can have the external MRI. Again, God stepped in. But we didn't have the money for it. We'd asked for it, but we didn't have the money. So then we put out word to friends and family. This is what needs to happen. And God provided. Jehovah Jireh came to the party. He provided the money and then more than was needed. My daughters were frantically phoning around to find the best, cheapest MRI. And Basil's sister happened to tell my youngest daughter, Michaele, that his cousin worked for a hospital in Kempton Park. So they phoned him, and he said he would try and organize a 50% reduction in the MRI. So I duly went along to have the MRI. My daughter took me. Before I went for the MRI, she took me for a shower because I had been in hospital for 3 weeks without being able to bath properly. There's no hot water, no showers, no baths at Barra. You get a little basin that you have to bath in. So she was like, no, Mom needs a bath. So she took me for a shower, which was absolutely glorious. We then went to have the MRI, which I had. We were waiting for the results, and she took me for breakfast, another blessing, because I could not face porridge again. Got the MRI and got the invoice, which was for nothing. They'd given it to me for nothing. Again, God stepping in the most amazing way. Basil, in the meantime, had started a prayer chain with people that he knew. He estimated that he contacted about 600 people, and some of those people had mega churches. And I had prayer 24 hours a day because they were worldwide during this time. And I can honestly tell you, I felt and knew that God was with me every step of the way. I was calm, frustrated and bored, but calm and in the ward. Just, even though my operation kept getting postponed, they came and told me, your operation is this Thursday. And then on the Thursday morning, sorry, no, it's been postponed. There's been an accident and somebody's come in. They postponed it 3 times. I was getting a little bit sick of it. But I knew that God was in control, and He was. He was preparing the absolutely perfect doctor for me. The most pedantic of all of the doctors on that rotation was the doctor that did the operation on me. The best thing that happened to me in the time that I was waiting was that my son and my daughter arrived. They both live overseas. My son lives in Australia and my daughter lives in England. And they arrived as a surprise visit to come and see me. Finally, surgery day, 7th of July. The surgery took 7 hours. I was totally calm going into the theatre because there's no porters to wheel you in. You walk. And I walked into the operating theatre. I was joking with the doctors, talking to them. I knew that God was with me, that no matter what the outcome was, that it would be a God outcome. Whether I died on the operating table meant I would be in heaven, and if I lived, he had a plan and a purpose for my life. So I went in absolutely calm. I woke up in ICU 7 hours later. Basil was there. I have no recollection. We apparently had a photo op. He spoke to me. I spoke sense, apparently. I don't recall. The first night in ICU was absolutely horrendous. A lady had died in the bed across from me, and the doctors were trying to resuscitate her, and she was having none of it. She wasn't coming back. They tried for about 25 minutes to resuscitate her, and in all that time, it was horrendous. It was a horrendous experience. 2 days after the operation, the professor came around. I was then put back into the normal ward. Oh, I must say, I was put into the male ward by accident because my name is Michaele with an E, and they accidentally put me in the male ward. So when I was fully compos mentis, I was like, ladies, I'm a lady. I shouldn't be here. So they were like, oh, we're so sorry, we quickly move you. So they quickly moved me, luckily, back to the ward that I had come out of, where I was back with the friends that I had made. The professor then came to see me the next morning and spoke to me. The doctor was with him, and he said, what do you think, to the doctor? And the doctor said, no, I think she's fine. So they released me. That was the day it snowed. It snowed just for me. They would not normally release a patient that has just had the major surgery I'd had without having a CT scan first. But they released me. Again, God stepping in for me and saying, it's time to go home. I went home. My incredible husband looked after me like I was a princess. I then had to, 3 weeks later, go back to Barra because I had to get the results of from the tumor. And again, a God miracle. The tumor was a meningioma, a G1, absolutely no cancer, absolutely no further treatment of having to be on epileptic medication or anything. So again, just an absolute miracle. And for that, I am eternally grateful.